the event stops. It'll make more sense when we analyze conditional branch. This might be useful because you might need to exit an event if a condition occurs. This command makes it possible. You may never need such a thing, but it is nice to have the option. Go to page 1, flow control, find call common event. This is special. Common events are created in the database. We usually put events there that are used often, thus no code duplication occurs. If, for instance, the event consists of 100 commands, then instead of using it in 50 places and have 5,000 commands, you have 50 common event calls instead. Thus, the total commands used will be 150, not 5,000. Plus, fixing once the event in one place, the database it will be auto-fixed everywhere. Using call common event, you can select a common event by selecting its name. Simple as that. So, here comes some more commands that don't need any pictures to be explained. Go to page 2, screen effects, find fade out and fade in. Fade out screen will fade out the screen into a blank black canvas. Texts are still visible. Fade in screen restores the screen. To show a picture after a black screen, you don't use a screen fade out. Instead, you use tint screen. You set colors to -255. Tint is different for picture and screen, thus you can have pictures shown that way. So here comes a fade out. See, text is still visible. How about using a transparent window? Do you like it? Dot, 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 dot. Maybe a scrolling text? Or text that needs no button press. This will be erased by its own. Just wait for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Now let's bring back the lights. Flash screen will turn the screen into the color of your choice. Flashing can be used for many reasons. Shake screen has power and speed. You give those values and you got yourself a nice earthquake effect. Go to page 1 at message and find input number. You'll have to select a variable for this and also a number of digits that number must have. Imagine it as a number lock. What it actually does is create an interface that a player can enter a number. That number is then stored on variables. Variables will be explained in the next tutorial. For now, imagine a variable as a box that can contain a number. Alright, so a number is entered by the player and it's stored into the variable. Enter the number so you can see how this thing works. Arrow keys left to right to move between digits, arrow keys up, down to change number. You entered the number 666. See? Keep that in mind. Man, those ignorant slimes are all over the place. Now we'll teach you how to transfer the player from a map to another. Gee.
That is actually really helpful.
Go to page 2 at movement and find transfer player. This is the menu for transferring the player. Direct designation means you transfer the player to a certain spot using an interface. Press the ... button, also known as an ellipsis. For our example, you can see this project's map tree so far on the left side. You can select any map. See this square indicated by me with colorful squares so you can spot it? This is the spot the player will be transferred. So selecting a map and a spot, you can transfer the player anywhere. There are some things you should know though. It's a good idea to fade out screen, do the transfer, then fade in. When we talk about variables, you'll understand that we will need some initial values for them. On-transferring is the best way to initialize variables or switches used in certain maps. We'll talk on variables soon, so hang in there. You must also be careful not to transfer the player on a dead end or an impassable tile. Impassable means that the character can't step on it. You can also use variables to define where to transfer the player. Yes, I know, variables everywhere. That's why the next tutorial will talk about variable switches and decision making. I'm just showing you here a lot of nice and neat stuff so we can go deeper into game making in the next tutorial. Okay, I'm also teasing you a little. 3 variables here can be used. One for the map number ID, one for the x-axis, and one for the y-axis to define a spot. See the variable name on the picture? Of course you don't! It would be shown after the 0011. 11 is the variable ID though. Keep in mind that variables can be used for transferring reasons. Here you define the fade usage and what direction will the character have on the next place he/she will be transferred. Go to page 2, movement, and find set event location. Each map event is in a square on the map, thus it can be transferred elsewhere using the same logic. We set the target event here. We select the destination square. You can do that only in the same map. You can also use variables to do that. See? No variable to change map here. You can change places with another event. The other event must be in the same map. Now let's see something interesting. Go to page 2 at character and find change transparency. Easy. On equals the character has no graphics displayed. Off, character graphics are restored. That will also erase any followers. Go to page 2 at character and find change player followers. Same logic for followers. Go to page 2, character, find gather followers. This gathers together all followers in a nice way. Open passable space around the hero is recommended. The more the followers, the greater the outcome. It's like doing a gathering round from a following line. Page 2, character, show animation. This will show an animation effect. It is the same animation used in battles. You can create one using the database, but we'll talk about that later. For now, what you need to know is that this is the way to show an animation on a map. Go to page 2, character, find show balloon icon. You'll love this. You can select player as the target. You can also select an event that represents another character or enemy. This command shows emotions into balloons. You can show it without stopping the control the player has, or you can force a wait to finish the situation. Dreadshadow is going to be angry now.
Hey, stop making me angry for no reason.
Dreadshadow, are you in love with the princess?
Who? Me? Nah.
Did you just sweat?
How can you? Never mind.
You should save often. I think failure will not give up. Failure might actually come back stronger, so keep that in mind.
Okay, whatever.
Page 3, scene control, open save screen under that category. This command literally does exactly that. Go to page 3, scene control, find game over, and return to title screen. Game over ends the game. Return to title screen returns you to the title screen, ending the game without the game over screen. Page 3, scene control, open menu screen. This command just opens the menu. Does not work in battle, of course, but it exists in order to give menu access if you disabled it for some reason. Page 3, system settings. Find change save access, change menu access, change formation access, and change encounter. These commands have 2 options, enable and disable. Really easy and simple. Enable gives access or function to the option, disable takes it away. So the player can or not access the menu. The player can have or not have access to save. Same goes for formation submenu. Finally, you can disable random encounters. Now for some more cool commands. Page 3, system settings, change window color. This changes the background color of the game interface called window, meaning this text is displayed into a window. Menu is displayed into a window. You can change the window color by blending red, green, and blue colors together to form the new color. God, that's awful.
Yeah.
Color values vary from negative 255 to positive 255. All negative 255 is black, all plus 255 is white. While negative 255, red plus 255 is pure red, same goes for the rest of the 3 colors. I'll provide you with some red, green, blue basic mixture values so you can understand better what's going on by experimenting. Those results come from those values. Now let's see something else. Page 3, system settings, change actor graphic. Easy to understand. 2 squares and a character target selector. The first character in the database is pre-selected. Here you can change 2 things. You can change the face that appears on the menu, plus you can also change the moving sprite. Anything that moves on the screen is called a sprite. So all this time till now, Dreadshadow has a sprite that moves. This is achieved by using a set of pictures that roll fast so they make an illusion of animation. Those pictures are gathered together to a big picture file called sprite sheets or sprite sets. To be easier to understand, sprite sets are also called character sets. So on the left side, you select a sprite sheet, and on your right, you select a picture. By default, I didn't want a sprite for the character, so it's blank here. Click on the character sprite. See? This is a set of character animation moves. The first set of animation is selected. See the white frame indicated by the lame drawn red arrow? This is a set of character animation moves. You select movement animation sets that way. Clicking on another set, the frame will surround it. On your left, you have access to the contents of the character folder. It's the same principle as selecting graphics for an event. Page 3, System Settings, Change Vehicle Graphic. Same principle for vehicle. Since you can use special events for this, you can change the graphic of the vehicle from here. You select Target Vehicle, then you select Graphic. Easy as pie. Page 3, Movie, find Play Movie. You can play a movie at size 544 by 416. Movies can only be .ogv format, OGG Thera, in order to be playable. Now go to page 3 at Advanced and find Script. This is a very advanced topic for this tutorial. Just for the record, you can type a script here or you can call one using Ruby syntax. Ruby is the programming language RGSS3 is written. Now go to page 3, Scene Controlled Battle Processing. This command starts a battle. You can choose the enemy from database troops using a direct designation or involve a variable or make it the same as a random encounter. Same as random encounter has a meaning because the battle will happen 100%, but the troops will be chosen from what you defined on map properties. You can set if the player can escape or not, plus you can keep the game on, override game over if the player loses. That is good, for instance, for a cutscene that someone comes to rescue the player from certain death, or if the enemy believes the player isn't worth even death. Now go to page 3, Scene Control, and find Shop Processing. Look at the checkbox. You can make the shop a purchase-only shop. That means the player can only buy, not sell. Like the old man that we talked to. You can see a list, an empty one. Double-click into a cell. You can add stuff to be sold from here. Items, weapons, and armor, one by one. You can select the predefined price that exists on the database, or you can define another price. Item default price can be edited in the database. We will talk about the database later. For now, keep in mind that you can change the price by using the specify feature. This is usable in cases like potion costs 50 in the cities, a database price, but you're now in the middle of a desert, far from all cities. And it happens an evil salesman is there, and it happens his price is doubled or tripled. If you didn't get stuff before you left the city, you'll suffer or pay a lot for some resources. In other words, you have to define default prices using the database. This feature is for price variation only. And what about money manipulation? Have we got something to do stuff with the game money? Of course we have! Go to page 1, Party, and find Change Gold. It isn't always gold. It means the game currency for money. Things are easy here. You increase or decrease money. How much can be specified here using a constant number. But even here, you can use a variable. Variables everywhere! That's why variables will be analyzed in depth. It's essential to understand what is going on. Find change item, change weapon, and change armor. Those three follow the same interface. Add or remove a quantity defined here as a constant or using a variable. Go to page 1, Party, change party member. Okay. Using this will add or remove people from the party. Easy peasy. See that initialize checkbox? This is special. If you click it, it adds a member at the initial state the member was defined in the database. That means, for instance, that a beloved member is defined in database as level 3. The member joins them and levels up.